I'm Gloria Strode and welcome to Straightforward. Today we are going to learn everything that we did not know about Down syndrome. Today visiting with us we have Carrie and Christian from the Chattahoochee Valley Down Syndrome Association. Well, finally, ladies, I get to meet you in person. Actually, I felt like a stalker trying to connect with you all, but I know you had a lot going on, reorganizing the organization, traveling for training. Yes. I followed you on social media, and as you went across over to Texas, and you said, well, this is where we are, and this how much further we have to go. So you didn't know that I was stalking. But I was excited because the more information that you can go and learn and bring back to the Chattahoochee Valley, not only help you with what you do daily with your children, but it will help others. And I just want to applaud both of you. And of course, you are the president and you are the vice president. And then, of course, joining us also is Ms. Barnes, who is the at-large advocate. But for all that you are doing with your children, but this is going to help other mothers. And when you become a subject matter expert, because you're dealing with it, it's a whole different ballgame. It's not textbook, it's not professorial, it's not theory, because you're dealing with it in practical. That's right. Right. So share with us what the Down syndrome. I'm familiar with my friends at autism, and then I also heard we could have a dual diagnosis of things. But just share with our audience what Down syndrome is.
So Down syndrome there's actually 3 types of Down syndrome.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's trisomy 21, there's translocation, and then there's mosaicism. Typically, I'm not sure what the percentages are, but the most common is trisomy 21.
Say that again. It's
trisomy 21.
Trisomy 21.
Yes.
Okay, so what is that?
The 21st chromosome.
The 21st chromosome, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have an extra one. So
okay, so they have an extra
one with 46 chromosomes.
Okay.
The 21st chromosome there's an extra copy of it, so they have individuals with Down syndrome have 47.
Okay, so normally, whatever normal is, because none of us are normal in this world, per the diagnosis, we'll say, science. Normally we have 46, and then they have the extra, those that's been diagnosed. Yes, okay,
right.
All right. So when do we know this? Is it when the baby, once you have the baby, do they do a fluid test? And I don't really mean to sound ignorant, but I really am when it comes to this. Right. That's why I was so tracking you all down so I could learn more.
Yeah.
No, really.
Yeah.
No one knows.
Well, in my old life, I was a social worker, and then I've worked with children in educational grants. And so when we see children with exceptionalities, a lot of times folks mean well, they just don't know what to do.
Right.
So that's what this is about. I want folks to know so we can do better. When we know better, we can do better.
That's right.
Right.
So in my experience, and I think like we have some moms or families who didn't know until birth. In my case, I knew from I had at 13 weeks pregnant is when I found out that my son had Down syndrome. Yes.
Okay.
So there's a blood test that they can do called the NIPT test, NIPT test. Most people know that as the gender test, so like you'll have that done and find out whether or not you're having a boy or a girl before your 20-week ultrasound. So that was the test.
I'm an old mother. See, we just waited till the baby came and we just bought neutral colors like yellow or green, and so we can actually do that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So back when I had him, they no longer, there was like a preliminary blood test that you would do, and it would kind of say like there's like a 1 in 10 chance of you having a child with Down syndrome. So I get a call back after having just routine blood work, and they say, we need you to come back in and have this other set of blood work done to determine whether or not. And so that was the NIPT test that I came back in the next week.
NIPT.
NIPT.
Okay.
Yes. And could not tell you what that stands for. don't.
Okay, I didn't even know that existed. You know, I'm an old mother. My kid is 40 years old. I have 4 grandchildren. So, I mean, I'm learning, you know?
Right.
Okay.
So had that done, and then, 13 weeks, and that was, 11 weeks was the first test, 12 weeks was the NIPT test, and by 13 weeks, a week later, had a 99.9% chance of my child having Down syndrome. Now, like, there's markers that they can see on, like, ultrasounds and things like that. And then there's, you can do an amniocentesis.
Okay, that's the old school thing.
And then people still do that.
Do they say that?
And they offered it to me. There's always risks
Right.
involved with amnio, so I
Opted out of it.
Right, exactly. So, but yeah, like I said, some people, there's 0 clues that their baby has Down syndrome,
Right.
and that's how a birth diagnosis would happen.
Okay. So what about you, Christian? So how old is your child?
He's 8.
He's 8, and your child is 7. Okay.
They're actually in the same class.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're classmates.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when did you find out?
So I found out that he had Down syndrome when he was 4.5 years old.
Okay, so he was already a toddler. Really?
So actually, Braden is my husband's child from his previous marriage.
Okay, all right. All right.
He's still my child.
No, he's yours,
Mhm.
because my son had one. It's in love, but it's ours. You know, he's been with us, so we don't do that separate. It's
No.
our grandchild. Yes, that's why we have 4. Right.
So
Okay.
I'm his mom. He calls me mom.
Yeah.
God
It's about-
brought us together. Like, we were
Yes.
just a perfect match.
And so receiving him at 4, you had enough love as a mom to want to learn more and be involved with this organization, so you could be the best mom for him.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, how
And
about that?
I was a new mom because I've never had any children before
Right.
I met my husband.
Right.
So really it was exciting, but it was also very complicated
Right.
and
Overwhelming.
overwhelming. Yes.
Right, for a young person to be starting out.
He
like
also
that.
has a dual diagnosis with autism.
Okay.
So not experiencing things from birth and kind of just like letting that be the normal.
Right.
I was like, I don't want to say, I jumped right in.
I
I jumped right in and I did everything
You
that I had
jumped
to
in
do.
with your hands, feet, and your heart.
Yes.
That's what it takes.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you wanted him, then you wanted what came with him, which was his precious child. Absolutely. Okay. Well, I'm learning more than I ever knew. There are like 3 types, so I do know that, so I'm not ignorant to that. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to bring Ms. Barnes in, and then we'll continue the conversation. All right. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors.
Straightforward is brought to you by State Senator Ed Harbison, serving the citizens of Georgia's 15th Senatorial District and on the front lines for veterans every day. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road. Trusted by generations. Whole Patient Healthcare. Dr. Jada Rimes-Bacote is board certified in family medicine. She believes the best patient care includes practical, individualized lifestyle changes. Located at 1338 13th Avenue, Columbus, 706-641-2080, or visit wholepatienthealthcare.com.
And welcome back to Straightforward. I'm continuing this very informative conversation, very, very important information for those of us that have worked with children in the past, for those of you that are working with children presently, and for all the other professions. We need to be informed, just like with those that have autism, so we're not responding ignorantly, which I have. I will admit that when I've seen children fall out in the store, because I'm an old school grandmother, we don't fall out in the public. But then I learned from my friend Diane Pope at Autism Hope that it's overstimulation, and they can do that. And so then I felt guilty. So now I've learned today with you brilliant women, and thank you for joining us, Ms. Barnes.
Thank you.
And you are the at-large advocate
Yes,
with the organization, that we have the dual diagnosis, and we do have 3 types of Down syndrome. And when we were on a sidebar, I was asking about the features. Regardless of the race or the ethnicity, their eyes sometimes are similar, and the nose. And which one of the 3 is that?
I would say that it's most likely with the trisomy 21.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And that's the most common?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's the most common.
Yeah.
Right, because I just noticed the eyes, and it's like, okay. And then Kristen was showing me her pretty little boy, and I want to bite his cheeks, and she said, I want to bite him. She said, he'll probably bite you back. Well, just as cute as pie. And so, Ms. Barnes, your baby, I saw him today, is 11.
He is 11.
And he's nonverbal.
He's considered nonverbal, working on some speech, so it's slowly coming out. But yes,
And he's dual diagnosis.
he is a dual diagnosis with Down syndrome and autism.
So when did you find out?
I actually found out the same way as Carrie while I was pregnant and had an ultrasound. And the doctor actually pointed out in the ultrasound, you know, when you get your little pictures, there was a little.
See, we didn't have all that before.
Yeah. But there was a little thickening of the neck.
Really?
And the doctor pointed out and said that that's usually one of the ways that you can see.
Nuchal fold is what that is.
Yes.
A nuchal fold, F-O-L-D.
F-O-L-D.
See, I'm really learning all of this, so you could see it from the picture.
We could see it from the picture. However, he still, you know, kind of gave the percentages of, you know, it could be nothing
Or
it could be. I actually was scheduled for a C-section, and I knew, because I had worked with children for years, as soon as they showed me him over the little curtain, I said, oh, he has it. Because
Really?
Again, because of the features,
Right,
with
the
the
eyes
and
and
the
eyes,
nose.
right.
Yes, but I loved him nonetheless.
Oh, absolutely. That's what mothers do. And that's why I think the best advocates, one of my friends, Marianne Young with Autism Hope, she's a subject matter expert now. She has started her own business. And before, she was just volunteering, helping other mothers as she learned. She learned everything about state law, about all the benefits. I mean, she was the one that would show up and rock people back on their heels, you know, and she did it for kids outside of her children. And now that her children are older, she turned it into a business, which is smart, because she did it for so many years for free. So do you have other children? I know you have another child, but not with Down.
Right, I actually have 3 kids. I have Grayson, who is my oldest,
Okay.
who has Down syndrome.
Okay.
Then I have a 6-year-old River, who's typical, and then I have a 1-year-old Libby,
Who is running
who's
this?
typical. Yes.
Libby is running this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's the boss of everybody.
She is.
So did you have fear when you got pregnant again?
I did. And actually, so with Grayson, since it took us 6 years to get pregnant. And so when I finally, you know, got pregnant, and then we went through all of that. So when I got pregnant with River, it happened quickly and did not take a long time. And so I did things differently. I didn't want to live in that fear, and so I didn't have blood tests. I did the ultrasounds and things like that, but I skipped the blood test completely. And then with Libby, because I'm older, I decided to go ahead and do the blood test and things like that, because now that I've lived it for so long, I just wanted to know, you know,
Right.
to be able to prepare and, you know,
Right,
things
right.
like that.
Especially with 3 kids.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, yeah. So,
You never sleep?
no.
No, because if you're a mom and a wife, you never sleep.
No.
People think you do, but you don't.
No.
Right.
Right.
Right. So you got through that, and then the 6-year-old and the 1-year-old,
They're
they
they're just
typical kids.
Typical kids. Yeah.
So, Ms. Barnes, do you have other children?
No, I do not.
Okay, so he's the king of it all.
He is the king of
And
it
he
all.
knows that, even
And
though
he
he's
does,
nonverbal.
and he does, and he meets no strangers.
Okay.
Anywhere he goes,
He's very loving.
He's very
You know, because some kids don't want people to touch them or whatever. So if I went up and got a hug,
Oh, he
would
was
give
going
me
to
a hug.
hug you first.
Yeah.
okay, okay, no, that's
Yes, he is
good.
a serial hugger.
Okay.
And you know, even just walking through the grocery store, because he has that loving effect, he will hug random strangers.
Well,
you
that's
know,
a good thing because sometimes we need a hug.
And they all
No,
love it.
not really in the world that we are in. Sometimes
Yes.
that's exactly, we just need somebody to, where there are no strings. See, that's love at its purest,
Yes.
when you get that.
Yes.
Right, and so he's spoiled. I can tell.
I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't
He
say
just
that.
gets a lot of what he wants.
Yeah, so today, when you came for this, for us to get together, he has someone that's with him and he plays. So he plays, how well do he play with other children since he's the only child? See, she has 3. So you have to learn how to negotiate when you're not an only child.
Right. So he's learning again those social cues of learning how to insert himself into play. And then also being 11, chronologically he's 11, but he's still a little younger.
Okay.
So he has to learn how to insert into play and to share and, you know, give space, and not to be too rough.
And not to be too rough. Well, he's a boy.
Yes.
Not to be too rough. Right. And so with this organization, you all try to provide a safe space for other mothers and to help them with learning all those things you've already learned. And I think that's very helpful. Well, here I go. I want to give y'all an assignment. People that know me know I always do this. I just think you got to expand, because for those that work with children, I was a social worker and I work with children in different environments. People need to know, you know, and then they need to know about the kids who are typical that have special needs, siblings. Okay? So I'm going to give y'all an assignment. How about that? Okay. What we're going to do is go to our break to our sponsors and we'll be right back. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors.
David Benefield at the historic Highland Hall, florist extraordinaire, making dreams come true for all occasions. Visit David and his team today at 1504 17th Street or call 706-324-4881, where happiness blooms. Barbara's Cleaning Service, a 5-star commercial service with satisfied customers in Georgia and South Carolina, built on the principle that every detail matters. Barbara's Cleaning Service, a new season building a family legacy. The Columbus Memory Center, 7196 North Lake Drive, Suite A, Columbus. Dr. Jonathan Liss is a board-certified neurologist and sleep specialist committed to battling Alzheimer's by preserving independence, offering you the opportunity to get your memory number for free, the only vital sign for brain health. Call today at 706-327-4000 or visit columbusmemorycenter.com.
And welcome back to Straightforward. I'm continuing this very important conversation with some of the awesome moms of Chattahoochee Valley Down Syndrome Association. The president is Carrie, vice president is Christian, and the at-large advocate is Miss Toya Barnes. I got it right, Miss Barnes. And they are just the perfect examples of how mothers, and we all do this, when you're a real mother, you're going to do all that you can to support your child. And they have become subject matter experts with Down syndrome. And today I wanted them to come visit with us, share with the audience, because we always want to inform and educate. Everything that they could teach us about Down syndrome. Those of us that have worked with children, people that are still working with children, folks that might interface with your children, we want them to be informed so they don't make a mistake. We can keep everybody safe. So you got a big event coming up. March is World
Down Syndrome Day.
World Down Syndrome Day.
March 21st.
March 21st. And so, Christian, you're going to share with us because y'all got some big things going on.
Yes. Okay. Well, Toya and I started thinking of ways to bring the community back to Columbus, because during COVID, everything shut down.
Everything. Even the
shut
show
down.
is different since
Right.
COVID. Right.
So coming back from COVID, it was very hard. Us moms were tired.
Yes.
And so a lot of the other moms who were running the organization, they decided, their children were older, it was time for them to step down. So we, as in myself, Carrie, and Toya, we were volunteers for a while, and just kind of running things, but not officially running things.
Right.
And then the new board was picked, and
you all relaunched.
And we all were in the process of still relaunching and revitalizing and rebranding the Chattahoochee Valley Down Syndrome Association.
I do understand, because COVID even changed the way we do this show. It actually just took over the TV station, and even our receptionist, who was a young woman, died from COVID. And so we try to be very careful. We want to keep everybody safe, but still want to stay on the mission. And so you all have revamped, and see, you all traveled to get all of that training, and I was excited and saw you with your little conference badges on. You see, I was watching everything you were doing. No, because I knew we were going to have this date, and I wanted to make sure that I did my part. I'm always going to do, my homework, so I can better understand what it is that you all do. And I really have to commend you for being the new mom. I don't like the step, because ain't nothing.
I know. I don't either. But when people ask the question, when about birth, and then I'm like, well, I guess I could come up with a story that'd be really awesome. But let's just, because
it's your child,
It is
and
important.
love, and you love his dad, and but you jumped in.
Right.
And some women wouldn't do that.
Correct.
So I have to commend you on that.
Thank you.
And so you have just put all this knowledge together because you want to help your husband to help his child. And that's commendable. And so, Carrie, bless your heart, you have little bit who's one running things, and then a 6-year-old, and then we have our sweetheart. And then, so you are busy, and you never sleep.
Right.
And so what we're going to do on March 21st, what's happening?
So Thursday night at 6 p.m., we are throwing the first annual 321 Mix and Mingle.
Okay.
On 321.
On 321.
Okay.
Yes, March 21st. It is going to be held at the Rothschild Pound House Inn downtown.
Okay.
And there will be an open bar.
Really?
Yes. So it is a mix and mingle for all of our mothers, caregivers, and self-advocates with individuals with self-advocates of individuals with Down syndrome. And to also bring in our medical professionals, city council, public officials, and leaders to really bring them in to know that we are coming back full force. We are in the process of revitalizing and revamping and rebranding, and that we need their help because we can't do it all. I'm not a doctor or EMS, but we really need everyone to know who we are, and so that people can steer moms, caregivers, therapists,
teachers,
doctors, teachers, and send them to us. And we want to build those community partnerships, and we want to collaborate and just share all the resources that we have learned. So we're really here to connect our families and who are living with Down syndrome. The resources that they need, and to know that there's a community here that we're building that was once, a little lost because of COVID.
Exactly. A lot of things got lost and never came back. And we've just really fought very hard to continue, because we've just completed 10 seasons of this show. And it was just hard, trying to come back from COVID and figure out how to continue, because before COVID, we were in the studio every week. You follow what I'm saying? So we get that. But what you're doing is families need that. And I do know of some others. There's a very brilliant young woman in Phoenix City, and her son is 17. And she's in the insurance business. And so I want her to be a part of this. Her husband's retired military, and those are the kind of people you want to bring to the table. Business people that have other resources, other knowledge. Because there are a lot of things that some families might not know about when we have children with exceptionalities. Ms. Toya was saying on a sidebar, Some things your child might not qualify for. It takes a lot, you know, when we're trying to support the children with exceptionalities and special needs. And so just having someone that has already walked the walk.
Correct.
So tell people how they can find you and more information. I know you're on Facebook, so how are you on Facebook?
So we are listed as the Chattahoochee Valley Down Syndrome Association.
Okay,
You can just search that and we'll pop on up.
okay, and what is the email?
It's cvdssg@gmail.com.
cvdssg@gmail.com. Well, I am happy that I stalked you all.
We're happy to. We're happy
No,
to.
I really wanted to know because I have had many years with my friends with autism. And then to learn that they can also have Down syndrome diagnosis as well as the autism. I just think we need our community to be educated and informed. So when they encounter someone with these exceptionalities, is what I'll call
And
it.
that's part of our mission, is to, advocate and let people know, about Down syndrome.
Right, right. And so if we all help, it's better for all the children. And I'm an old social worker, so all the children are our children.
That's right.
So I thank you all so much for coming, and we will do this again.
Yes, ma'am.
And we want the community to get behind you and support you on
World
World
Down
Down
Syndrome
Syndrome Day,
Day.
Autism on the Brain.
March 21st.
March 21st, and information will be on your Facebook page.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. This has been straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.
What up, world? What's up, Columbus? Be sure to tune in every Sunday, Straightforward with Gloria Strode, right here on NBC 38.